Welcome to another class. It's Tosin Ekundayo here again. In the last class I talked about, or in one of the videos I talked about a business capital. And I told you it's one of the excuses why most people don't actually have a business yet. Because they feel the ability to start a business is a function of the amount of capital that they have. But we've seen businesses that have actually started without even a single dollar in their bank account. Facebook and the likes of them didn't have a lot of money before they actually started. In fact, history holds that they don't even have money at all. What they did is they looked for investors. Now, by now you should be asking yourself, is it possible for me to have investors? I'll tell you this. When it comes to capital, there are two sources of capital, two major sources of capital. Entrepreneurship has developed and diversified at this point in time in the current world that we are in. That's why I'm limiting the sources to two. There could be more. I've seen people who use a GoFundMe to raise capital. As long as you can put an idea out there, you can convince your audience. You can have a GoFundMe page to raise capital. In fact, aside GoFundMe, which is usually a platform where people donate for a cause, I've seen people advertise their business idea and their business plan, and yet they still get the money in addition to whatever they must have saved or whatever they have in the first place for that business to germinate and grow successfully. Okay, but I wouldn't go through to that. In my book, I talked about all those other options of sourcing for capital. Would limit the sources of capital to two. One is debt. Okay, a debt is similar to a loan. A debt is any amount of money that you get for whatever source, as long as you have to pay back. And while you're actually paying back, you have to pay some interest. For me, I give my students or my mentees or anybody who talks to me about business, I give them advices to strictly avoid a debt source of capital. Because you are just starting your business, nothing is guaranteed yet. I'm sorry to break your heart. A business is like a gamble or it's a game of chance. Okay? At the beginning, it's 50-50. You can win, you can lose. And you don't want to take a debt kind of capital into a business and you lose. You know what happens? You get into legal troubles and probably end up in jail or get indebted, and you have to suffer that for another period of time, impacting other aspects of your life. Okay? So I'm not saying it is wrong, but I'm telling you it's not a good option to begin your business. Okay? Now, the other option is equity. Equity is the owner of the business. How much are you putting into the investment or into your business idea? Now, it doesn't have to come from you alone, because obviously most of us don't even have the capital to fund the business. It could come from an external source. Now, what you give in exchange of that external source is called business shares. Now, the business 100% used to be yours. Now that you're bringing the money from somebody else, you are not saying you're going to pay back. The person is not asking you to pay back. What the person wants is, I want us to be partners. Do you understand how it works now? This is what you call equity. So there are two kinds of capital. One is debt, one which you have to keep paying back over a period of time. They'll tell you pay 100,000 every month or pay 100,000 every year. It comes with its own pressure. Now, at the beginning of your business, the profit is actually not much. Okay? If you start paying back from the little profit that you have, you keep having a negative cash flow. Cash flow is another thing that I need to talk to you about. I'll discuss that in another video. Okay? But take this from this particular short video. There are two sources of capital. One is debt and one is equity. The debt you have, it's similar to what you get from the bank. Okay, it could even be from your mom, it could be from your brother, it could be from your friends. As long as you have to pay back, it's called a debt. Okay, now on the other hand is equity. Equity investors will tell you, I want to give you 50,000, but I want 20% of your business, which means you guys become partners. That's what equity is. So these are the two sources of capital that you would always, that are open to you as an option. Okay, now some people would always ask me again, when is the best time to use equity and when is the best time to use a debt? Now, I would always advise that you use your own equity, which is your own money, which I said in the previous video that you can actually get from savings. okay? Your own money, or you can get equity from an external source, okay? I could invest in your business, for instance, for 20% ownership, and we become partners. It doesn't necessarily mean I take part in the day-to-day activities of the business. It just means we share profit when the profit is there. And when the loss is there as well, we share the loss as well. Okay? Now, when it comes to debt, you can actually use debt for capital investment. Don't mistake it. In one of the classes, I talked about business capital. That's not what I'm talking about now. I'm talking about capital investment. Capital investment, I'll tell you what that means in another class. Okay, so these are the two options that you have when it comes to source of capital for your business. If you have any question, drop a comment below. I'll be happy to respond to you accordingly. Thank you very much, guys. See you in the next class.